Hey everyone, it's Ryan again, your friendly St. Benedict's volunteer IT guy, and I wanted to take a chance to quickly address an issue that a number of people have reported to the church, and that is a number of scam text messages that they are getting about from people that are claiming to be Father Nichols and asking for money. And so somebody said, people have asked me, well, I've been hacked. Is there something going on? Do we need to like put some cyber defenses in, all this kind of stuff? And the answer on that is actually in many cases no. The best defense against these is for you to always be skeptical of what you are looking at. And I first want to talk about how these scams normally happen, and then I want to talk about what you should do that will make you always resistant to scams. So first, right, how does a scam happen, right? And I've had this scam before. That hit my one of the organizations that I volunteer for, the Project Management Institute at Hampton Roads. And so, way back in the day, I had received a text claiming to be from the president of PMI Hampton Roads and saying, "Hey Ryan, I need you to buy some gift cards. I need you to buy some gift cards for me." Right? It's Mark, the president from at the time, the president from PMI. Interestingly enough, we were getting ready for our holiday party at that time. So I actually was buying gift cards. So I almost fell for that. And then I was like, wait a second, that's not Mark's number. And so then I called Mark on his number and I said, hey, Mark, were you asking me to buy gift cards? And he was like, no. And I realized like it was a scam. Luckily, I hadn't purchased anything, right? So I put it away. So I've seen this scam before, right? It's come to me personally. I've seen it from other people. And so you get a text from someone saying, "Hey, this is Father Nichols, blah blah. Can you make a donation? I was just going to reach out to you personally, right?" But it's always from not that person's number, right? It's from some other number, right? It might be a 757 number, right? But it's not necessarily it's not Father Nichols' number. So what do you like? First of all, have you been hacked? Right? The answer is no. So people can easily scrape information. They could find who the parish priest is, right? It's not too hard. They look on the website, and they could see that, hey, this person's a parish priest. They typically ask people for money, right? And so what they would do is then try to get a bunch of numbers from people that they think might go to St. Benedict's, right? And so then they're just going to throw these out, right? They don't even have to be sure that you go to St. Benedict's. They might send this to thousands of people and most people would ignore it. But if you're a St. Benedict's person, right, you might say, "Oh, okay, right, maybe I should respond to this." Um, and so that's how they get this, right? So there's nothing that you do, and there's nothing. It's not like you have a bad password. You aren't hacked if you get a fake message. Okay, you want to think of it as a scam. It's not a hack. Okay, a hack would be like, hey, I break into your account, I steal your password, or I steal access to your account in some way, shape, or form. Right? These people aren't hacking. Most likely, these people aren't hacking anything. They're just getting lists from somewhere and then they're building them and then they're just sending out thousands upon thousands of these, right? Because all they have to do is get a couple that work, and it's a real cheap scam, right? They get a couple of these that work, they make a couple $100, and then they move on to the next victim. That's all they do. Okay. So, so you say, okay, well, if I'm not hacked, how do I defend myself against this, right? And the best defense, and this is against any of these things, is be skeptical. Think about it for a second. Is Father Nichols gonna randomly text you from a phone that's not his to ask you for money? Like, you should sit there and be like, "That doesn't make any sense." And if it doesn't make any sense, it's because it doesn't make any sense, okay? The church is never going to ask you for money over a text message, ever, ever. They're not gonna do that, okay? Where, like, if the church is going to ask you for money, one, it's typically gonna be on church grounds, right? They'll pass the collection basket around. That's how we normally ask for money, right? And then if, for example, Father Nichols was to approach an individual, right, for making a special donation, he's gonna talk to you. He's gonna call you on the phone, right? He's gonna meet with you after mass, or he'll have Yvonne or Carrie or somebody else call you to schedule a time to talk to you. Okay. They're not going to do it over text message. They're just not going to do that. Right. So anytime you see something where you're like, man, does this really make any sense? If the answer is no. So just don't believe it. And the other way that you can always verify whether it's a text, an email, even a phone call, right? If you want to verify that it's genuine, call the office. Absolutely. Like if you get a text from somebody claiming to be Father Nichols, call the office. You got the office number. You'll hear my voice, right? Answer on the automated system, right? And then hit Yvonne's number, right? I believe she's option three. You can say, "Hey, Yvonne, did was Father Nichols that had asked me for to donate some money, right, for blah 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 cause or whatever?" And of course, the answer will most likely be no. And then you'll have saved yourself. What if you get an email claiming to be from Father Nichols, right? Almost always those emails have a spoofed email header. So it might look like it's from Father Nichols or might even say Father Neil Nichols on it, but then the email doesn't match. It doesn't end in at stbenedictsparish.org, right? And so the way you know that's true is, or whether it's true or false, is call the office. Absolutely. Be skeptical. The best thing that you can do to stop these scams is be skeptical. Always be skeptical. Okay. Always think, would somebody really do that? Would somebody really text me? Like Father Nichols is more personal than that, right? And the rest of the staff is more personable than that. So to recap, right? One, there's a scam going around. Okay. There's always going to be scams going around. There's a scam going around right now. I guarantee it will go away from here and it might go and hit some other parish. Okay. And then it will eventually come on back, right? There will always be scams. There will always be scammers. It's just a thing of history, right? Second, the easy, there's nothing that you did wrong necessarily, right? You didn't get hacked. It doesn't mean that the parish needs to like lockdown or do anything cyber related or whatever. It's a scam. And then third, the best way to defend against that is to always be skeptical. Don't believe everything that comes over text, right? Just like you don't believe everything on the internet, or I certainly hope you don't. Otherwise, I have some land to sell you, right? Don't believe everything you see on a text. When you look at a text message, you should think this is just a bunch of ones and zeros that got transmitted over a line from one person claiming to be Father Nichols with a weird number. When you say it like that, right, it sounds really strange, right? And if you ever have doubts, call, call the office, okay? Call the office and ask. That's the best way, the number one way. Even better, right? If you're really in doubt, ask Father Nichols after Mass, right? Take your phone and be like, hey, was this you? Right? More than likely the answer is going to be no. So that way you don't fall for those scams. So just wanted to address that, right? I know that we sent a flock note about it, but I wanted to put a video up as well because I know some people watch it. And yeah, don't be scammed. Don't fall for those scams. Push those scammers on out so that way they'll go off and go find some other targets. This is Ryan, a volunteer IT guy, and hope to see you at Mass.